These ego are maybe top outlined via the speech of the family. Following months of ruthless bombing heard them subterranean, fair sense the sun on their leather has be a opulence. The Al-Bal asylum seeker camping in Aleppo provincial, hidden versus the boundary in Turkey, is packed in hundreds of families who kept lifetime by siege. They are of Doma, on the suburb of Damascus, wherever an estimated chemistry assault by the Syriac mode took location recent Saturday. The city's people had already seen its stake of chemistry attacks, drum bombs, air and land assaults above 6 years of besiegement by the government forces. Nour shows us her twin brother 7-year-old girls in overlapping rows. Dora the researcher backpacks, that they insisted on not outgoing over while they leftward as portion of evacuations over the 1 week. They were 2 months old while the coup began, she says, relating to the famous rebellion of March 2011, met by the rough strength of the Syriac mode and after spiral in civilian warfare. Which include they seen in lifetime, which do they aware how is clean or type? All they include seen is bloodstream, corpse, the injured and sharp stink emerges of one of the backpacks as she unzips it, hauling out a little paperboard carton. One of the Gemini, Malaz, had packed off a slight blonde pupa. She tell to the pupa, expressive her you might strangle but you will be secure of the bomb. Nour remembers how her child's vote was imbued in sadness. For their recent 4-persons months in Doma, the household lived in a cellar. They were subterranean while the toxicity rounds strike. Who yelled chemistry? Nour recalls. I thick felt my neck shut, my flesh go halt as if I had all sucked out of me. She reenacts how her weapon tensed up, how she could hardly gathering the force to seize her daughter's weapon and pincers her way up the stairs. They done it to the 4-story while ordnance rounds or missile strike, she's not certainly which, slammed in the house, trembling it. It was love we were among 2 deaths, she says. This chemistry assault on the reduce floors or the some strikes affecting the top ones. The Gemini are a slight timid. They smiling gently and say hesitatingly. Think day yesterday they were game, they were dig a ditch, a tube for the ants external our camping, Nour says. They said me it was so the ants could include a location to conceal and remain secure if down there was an assault, she adds. We were at the camping, run and underfunded by Turkey, fair several hours following US, UK and France strikes hit 3 suspected mode chemistry arms website in answer to the mode's newest estimated toxicity hit on Doma. Which the Assad mode has made to us is a criminality, he is necessary to be stopped, Nour says. Yet which is largest essential is how civilian population aren't wound. No one should afflict which we did. Down there as necessary to be a policy decision, and late. The Gemini say they wish to be doctors so they can rescue injured family. The human beings there trust how the strikes were portion of a more extensive policy play, and had slight consider for end or weakening their affliction. The intervene did slight to remove the otherwise of Assad's fatal stockpile, they spot of. It is a mood how has length existed amongst such who dwell in opposition-held areas, that include transferred the main burden of mode bombing above the year, how leaders who denounce the mode are hypocrites, just pretending indignation to shove striker their own agendas, and how Syriac lives include no actual importance to them. Allow them hit Bashar, perhaps it will rescue us, 18-year-old Malik says cradling her 4-persons-month-old. Her vote is plain, swathed by hopelessness, as if obedient to the concept how anything can save them of their affliction. She was subterranean while the chemistry hit happened. While the odor hit us, we threw up. My jaw imbued in sputum. I couldn't halt cough, she says nearly question of factly, as if creature gas time concealment out in a cellar were usual. We got to a hospital, wherever they batched us in water supply and gave us oxygen supply. The infant, Malik's some 3-year-old kid and her man Walid were at her sibling-in-law's building, they spared the paralyzing terror the assault driven. Walid was in one of the insurgent fight forces. Sames fair 23. While the war ruined of, he was 16-year-old, yet in top high school. I driven it in me, he says, show us the key to his building. Perhaps one day we will be capable to go behind, he tells us. These are speech how arouse refugees history, images of some populations who clung to the expect how one day their destiny would changing. Amira, 10, laughs in several of her peers, but tugs at her sleeves while we say to her. He's her 4-day off of her household, a location plundered of lucky memories. I was frightened, she says sheepishly. She says she wants to be a tutor while she wants to increase up. In the recent 7-year of Syria's warfare, 68-year-old Fariz has buried more than loved ones rather than she can recall, consisting her son and 2 grandsons. Curved above at the waistline, she hobbles via the camping aided by a reed and her 18-year-old grandchild. I dongti Mississippi household. I incurred too lot in he, she says calmly. While we ask her on her favorite ram up the warfare, she can no much longer repress her ache. He's the Fridays while the household would all get along, all my family and grandchildren. And always live. Her eyes so in burst into tears she tries to lid. She looks up and begins to welcome us for tea up the fact of her occasion appears to set in. She doesn't include a household. Her instinctual welcome is maybe all she has leftward of the lifetime she utilized to aware.